Hi guys and welcome back to SwitchUp. We have probably one of our favourite lists today, and it's the best co-op games on the Nintendo Switch, or at least our current best co-op games on Switch. There are two other of these lists if you want to go and check those out. The links are down in the description.
Yeah, I think that first co-op list was the first one we ever did. Part nostalgia, part cringe, because it's absolute pony, isn't it? Yeah, don't watch it, it's rubbish. Anyway, let's get on with this one, shall we?
The first game on the list is a game called Full Metal Furies, and you can take on one of 4 different playable characters that have unique classes such as a sniper, mechanic I believe, and the assault class. We were really surprised by just how addictive this game was. You take your troop of Furies on a mission to stop a bad guy, as you'd expect, but the combat is so tight. I loved how the sniper could slow time briefly before taking lethal shots, and each class has quite a few unlocks to acquire as you go about your adventure. A very good game indeed.
Yeah, this was a game that was definitely enhanced with the co-op and also that upgrade system that you mentioned, Mark, as well. Yeah, this was one that we weren't expecting a whole lot of, to be fair, and it really was quite enjoyable, wasn't it? Right, next up then is a platform game called Tiny Barbarian, which is from the car list. Now, we played practically the whole game through, I think, in co-op, didn't we? And it's difficult but fantastic fun, and one of those games that's so hard at times that having that second player with you almost drags you through. I think there's times if I was playing this single player, I would have given up, thrown the controller across the room, that sort of thing. But because you're together, you don't want to be the one that says, let's stop. You just keep going, don't you? And that final boss was hideous.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. We played that game I think for about 5 or 6 hours straight, and that last boss probably did about 50 attempts before we finally got it. Great game. My next choice is the much loved Adventure Pals, and I'll be honest, I held off on a purchase of this one for a very long time until it recently came on sale, and I just had to go for it. I didn't even realise it had co-op until my daughter picked up the controller and just popped into the game drop in and drop out style, and it is excellent. Even if your comrade falls off a platform, as long as you're alive, they just pop back next to you. It's really well suited to co-op play and is an excellent standalone platformer even if you don't have a friend to join you. A really brilliant game, very surprised by how good this was.
Yeah, this was on our recent gaming on a budget list, wasn't it? And it's nice to do this one straight after Tiny Barbarian because obviously they're both platformers, but they're very, very different experiences in co-op, and it's quite interesting to see how two games of the same genre can be so different as a co-op experience. Right, my next pick is a Contra Anniversary Collection that was announced during the recent Nintendo E3 presentation. Now, Contra games are great to play in co-op because they're brutally difficult, and similar to the Tiny Barbarian, you just keep each other going. They're run and gun games, my favourite being Contra 3 from the Super Nintendo. It's the type of co-op game that almost has that competitive element to it as well, because you don't want to be the one that dies and lets the side down. It's very intense as well.
Good stuff, and again, another classic that I really do need to get around to play by all accounts. My next choice is the slightly unusual Rico, and while I didn't necessarily love this when it was in single player mode, when Glenn and I played co-op it was a completely different experience. It's perfectly suited for that. It does have motion controls and it's almost like a floor clearing game, so you enter a new floor of either a house or a mansion and you have certain objectives, but doing it co-op worked well as you kick down doors together in unison and then clear the room. There's a very competitive element to this little co-op shooter.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because you played this in single player first, didn't you? And then you came round to mine and said that you weren't overly impressed with it so far. So we had a bash on the co-op, and whilst it still wouldn't be setting any worlds alight, it was a lot more fun, wasn't it? Noticeably better in co-op. I wanted to choose a beat 'em up game because I think these are some of the best games you can play in co-op. I was going to go for the Capcom Collection because for 7 odd games that you get, it's great value. There were also some arcade classics on there such as Double Dragon or Sengoku 3, but I decided to go for a cheap indie game called Streets of Red. Now I reviewed this way back when, and it's a great little game with up to 4-player co-op. It makes a ton of references to films of the 80s and also some of those classic beat 'em ups, including Double Dragon. And for the price you're paying, you're getting a very polished experience.
It seems only right to put in at least one Battle Royale game, as we have quite a few of those on the Switch. I think for me it's going to have to be Realm Royale, which I've really got into recently, but for many it might be Paladins or Fortnite. This game pits you against 99 other players as you have to survive to the very end. There's the fog of war that gradually gets smaller, and a plethora of weapons to collect and abilities to unlock as you level up. I just really enjoyed the shooting mechanics, to be honest, and the fact that it didn't have any fort building.
My next pick then, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Mark and I have put a ridiculous amount of time and hours into this game or other games in this series over the years, and although the mechanics of this particular one are starting to show their age a little bit now, when you play it in co-op either online or local, it's just so much fun. You take on these huge behemoths between you, strategizing as you go, upgrading your weapons and armor, discussing which pieces you need and then deciding on which animal to take on next to try and build your perfect armor set or weapon. It's just a great time, playing with different weapon classes that complement each other as well, and again almost becoming a better team as you go along. It's not the easiest series to get into, but when it clicks it will take over your life.
Exactly that. It's not the easiest to get into, but it is worth persevering. I probably would have preferred Monster Hunter 4 on the Switch, but we got this version, and well, at least it's got the G rank monsters, which are the hardest variety of the monsters and well worth getting to. The final game for me is a game that you'll all know called Sniper Elite V2 Remastered that we recently reviewed on the channel. Now, co-op probably isn't the first thing that springs to mind when you think of this game, but the entire campaign can be played through with a friend. And well, I really like the idea of that. Obviously, this will require online to do so, but I think it's an experience that would be bolstered by having a friend to play through with, especially when you're going for a more stealth approach. You undertake a variety of missions in World War II as you make your way towards, well, I'm sure you can imagine who, and try and take him down.
Right, and the final game for this particular list then would be Cuphead. This is probably the game that Mark and I have played the most co-op in this year. This is quite an interesting one to play in co-op because I don't mind saying that at times on particular bosses, both of us have looked at each other and said, I hate this game. Like, I want to stop playing it, it's doing my head in. This boss is impossible. We finally beat it, had a break from it, and then next week it'll be, do you want to play Cuphead? And that's the beauty of some co-op games, isn't it? It doesn't matter how difficult they get. Once the dust settles and you've beaten it and you've had time to calm down, you just want to play it again. And this game does that very well.
I think this is a great one to finish the list on because it is like the ultimate co-op experience. It has drop in and drop out. Both of you acquire points separately, so you can spend those on different perks and upgrades to suit your own style. And when you die, there's a revive system that relies on the parry mechanic, so it really does feel like you're working together. An excellent game and well worth your time if you haven't tried it already. Thanks so much. That's the end of this co-op list. Let us know down in the comments. I'm sure you've got ones that we've missed that you really enjoy, and we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, and also don't forget, this is not a definitive list. Other games will come out. There'll be games that we've not included. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching.
Thanks so much to the patrons for all the support you've given us. For all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up.
And until next time, happy gaming.
Cheers, guys. See ya.